Hi everyone. Now we're going to look at equipment. So what equipment should an enthusiast have? Obviously you're going to need lenses and a body, maybe a flash, tripod, etc. So let's have a look there. The first one is lenses. I highly recommend that you purchase second-hand lenses as well as new. The kit lens that you would have turned up with your camera is fine. If it's a wide angle to standard lens, that's great start. And then it goes from there, from standard to telephoto. If you didn't buy it with the two lenses, I highly recommend that somehow you purchase that zoom lens as well. Second hand is fine, so look on the second hand market. Some people upgrade to a more professional lens and they're getting rid of their kit lens. Try and get a hold of one of those kit lenses if you can. There's nothing wrong with second hand, by the way, so you can either buy it from one of the online sellers or from a shop. Personally, I prefer a shop because I can look at it and have it in my hand before I purchase, and then if there's anything wrong, I can just go and take it back. So what we want to do with a lens is we want to be able to open up that lens. So when we open that lens up, go to a bright light source and have a look inside and go to all the edges. And we're looking for fungus and we're looking for dust and scratches. If it has any of those, don't purchase the lens. There's a whole range of different lenses. There's zoom and prime. May I suggest that you get a 35mm prime, a 50mm prime, and eventually as your journey continues, this isn't all straight away, this is over a long journey, right? And it's all up to you. An 85mm prime, and that's great for portraits. So that's lenses. The next one is flashes. So with the flashes, this is called a speedlight flash and it sits on top of the camera. They do have a thing called TTL through the lens. It'll talk to the camera and give just the right amount of flash. In most cases it works. I prefer to shoot manually and I set it all manually. And once you get used to that, you won't want to go back to TTL. I do use it rarely on TTL, and if I hand my camera to someone, I'll put it to TTL. But as a rule, I shoot manually. So your camera may have a pop-up flash as well. So they're really handy, and learn how to use that. Just that little bit, tiny little bit of flash can make all the difference to a shot. So if you've got a background that is going to look okay, but you hit your subject with a little bit of flash, it makes them pop. The word is pop. It makes the eyes pop. So instead of big shadows under their eyes, if there's a light above them, that flash will take that shadow away and make them look really, really nice. Learn to shoot manually though. Don't trust the camera's TTL. Sometimes it makes them too bright and they look like a rabbit in the headlights. So we don't want that. So learn how to control that. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So you've got lenses, you've got flashes, and over the years you'll end up maybe with studio flashes as you head down that professional road. Some people may want a second-hand body as well. As a spare, as a backup, can do a couple of different things. One's an APS-C and one's a full frame sensor. That's up to you. One's a mirrorless, one's a DSLR. That's up to you. The other thing is a tripod. So this camera's on a sturdy tripod, and there's going to be instances where you need a really solid tripod. It's a little bit windy, you're outside, you're doing landscape photography. So because of that, a good solid tripod is really handy. Flimsy ones are fine too. They're really cheap and you can put them in your backpack and you can just sit it on a rock or whatever if you need to. But if you open up the legs too far, they become really spindly and really lightweight and very fragile. And your camera's just not worth tumbling over because of a sudden breeze. The other thing that you're going to need is a decent computer monitor. Something that can be calibrated, so you can get an external calibrator and put that on and it'll do the work for you, or you can do the internal process of calibration. May I suggest strongly that from 100% brightness you turn your brightness back to the halfway mark, and the reason why I say that is once it is color calibrated, you've got to get this right, because when you print something, if the brightness is at 100% and you clean something, you'll get your print and it'll look dark. And why does it look dark? The printer won't change. The printer always stays the same. It gets fed information and it prints it. So the information you send to the printer is vital. So in this case, if you turn your brightness to the halfway mark and then you clean your image and it looks bright and lovely, when you print that, it'll look great. All right? So start at the halfway mark on your monitor, get it calibrated, and that's a great start.